So I've kind of put this thing together with dreams. The other day, I was sleeping a lot, and I slept into the afternoon. And I woke up, and I'm like, I should probably get up. But it was just so like nice and cool in the room and peaceful that I just said, fuck it, I'm going back to sleep. So when I went back to sleep, it was like 4 more hours or so sleeping. And I noticed that, or at least for me, and I always forget to mention it, that when I oversleep, I tend to have like nightmares. And my nightmares are usually like I'm in a bad situation, like I'm going to jail or something, or I'm trapped at like a party and I lost my phone, my ride's gone, weird shit like that. And it was one of those things, one of those cases. It's stupid. The dream itself was ridiculous, and it's not even worth going into. But the thing is, it's almost like it's a message, like you're sleeping too much, or you're sleeping too long, or if you want to stay in this realm, we're going to give you some kind of shitty thing to have to go through. Because it seems to be that way every time. Oversleeping, they'll make you do this, or they'll put you in a circumstance that sucks. Everything about it, like the dream itself, dreaming, to me, it feels like it's mini versions of this. You get put into scenarios where you have to solve something, like there's a point to it, or something you're supposed to be doing, and when you don't do it or you can't do it, they almost give you like another chance to do it again in a different scenario. Like I was saying once, it's like they have, say you have to do, you have to move a box or something, or there's some kind of box that's important, and you have to move it, and you're driving, and you're not doing it well, or you keep getting pit stopped, or something keeps happening. What they'll do is then you still have to move the box, but this time they give you a plane to move it with. Like there's always a point to what you're doing, a puzzle to be solved, or a task to be finished, or at least that's how I found it to be with me. And if you can't do it for whatever reason, and this is up and to including death, because I've died in that, and people always say like you wake up when you die. I've died and just like get right back up, almost like a video game or something. Like, but I'll awake in a different place, or I'll appear in a different place, just like a game, like a video game. So it's like there's a thing about dreams that is very fucking, Jesus Christ, is very video gamey like. Is that a demon thing? Is someone screaming, some demon screaming going on? Do we got a live one? I'm just looking out and anything else. Anyway, and if for whatever reason you can't solve it, because I've had this exact thing happen. Like I'm trying to do something and I'll die. I remember getting hit by a train and I just appear somewhere else. In the same puzzle or the same thing to be solved to move along is still happening. And I have solved the things before, and when you solve it or get to the end of it, it's like the end of a movie or the end of a story. Like it's I've had situations where like I know I finished it, right, and it was like this celebratory thing, like everyone was happy, like, yeah, you did it. And I've woken up after that. And it took years to kind of piece this all together as far as what I think, how it works, that there is some kind of point to it all, or there is some kind of mission or idea that you're supposed to do, And in the same way, if you've been there too long, you'll start to get like negative stuff, like what happened to me the other day. And I think what that says to me is it's the system saying you've been here too long. You know, you don't need to be here anymore. We've already done what we got to do. Now, sleep itself is because I think what happens is they have to refresh whatever is keeping you behind the veil, like the veil itself, the scales from the eyes, all that stuff. When you sleep, this is somehow refreshed. I believe that's one of the things, is it's somehow refreshed, and that's why you have to sleep. It isn't because you're tired or anything like that. They need you to go down so that they can do whatever they're doing inside your body, you know. And you leave the body, and that's where I believe you go to these other dream realms, because these dream areas, they're places. You know, they're places that exist beyond you. They're not being made up in your mind, like a lot of people probably think. And I thought too, like growing up, I was always like, it's your mind trying to like play a movie or something, or give you something to do. But it's not. I think it's more that these are places that exist, and you could come and go from them, and they stay the same. Like they're perpetually existing places. Like I've been to this old house that I used to live in, and they were working on the house, like building it. They're refacing it, and every time I would go back there, a little bit more would be done. A little bit more of it would be done. To one point, these things do not stay lit. To one point where I arrived, going back into the dream, and the place was finished. And I remember looking at it thinking, oh wow, that's cool. They finished this place, you know, it's great. But, and there are people, like in the dream I had the other night, there were people in there that I know weren't conjured by my thoughts, weren't conjured by my brain. These are independent people that existed. These are their own entities with their own kind of, they exist independent of me. You know, they were there before I was. I didn't invent them. They were just, they exist in some plane of existence, you know? Because it is, Jesus lady, it is a dimensional thing. Like you end up in a, to go back to the body, to leaving the body thing, you leave your body, right? But you're connected by this kind of cord, this ethereal cord. It's been depicted throughout the years in different cultures and drawings. I'll throw some up on the screen to show you what I'm talking about. And the idea is you, the electromagnetic energy being that you are, you're not this body, right, has to leave the human suit. But you're still connected to the human suit by this string, by this ethereal string that connects you. It comes through your navel, which has taken on more meaning for me, because even in recent years I've started to figure out, and people have probably known this for hundreds of years, but I stumble into some of this stuff. Sometimes I'm not looking for something, I just happen to stumble into it. That the majority of you, the energy of you, is like in the gut area. You know, that's where you reside. And even normie, like medical science people, my doctor was talking to me about this. My head doctor was talking to me about how he's also a nutritionalist, and he was saying that it's only been in recent times that they've begun to realize how important your gut biome is to your overall health. And it seems to be, it's the cause of a lot of problems, and it's the key to like understanding your body and how the health of that area is kind of dependent on being healthy to make everything else work right. And when I see depictions, I had videos here about drawing the spirit from the body, like, and I was noticing that there are a lot of depictions in like video games and media when the energy, when you were being drawn out from the human suit, from the body, it always comes from the gut area. And then I started noticing that guy bent over backwards in a lot of different media and places. The Jeffrey Dahmer thing. The Podestas have, well, Tony Podesta has a piece of art that was supposedly how they found one of Dahmer's victims, in a sort of backwards kind of with the gut in the air position. That was made by Frenchie McFuckface. I talked about her. I forget her real name, but that's what I was calling her. She wears a demon crown. I'm not going to get into demon crown because it's a whole different rabbit hole. But she created this piece of art that he has in his house that was supposedly based on one of Dahmer's victims, how they found him. I'll put the pictures together so you can see what I'm talking about. I think that piece existed before the Dahmer photos, because the whole Dahmer thing was fake. It's all fantasy. The whole thing. Most serial killers they're not real. It's all stories, and there's a reason they do this. And that again is another rabbit hole that when I'm trying to stay on topic as much as I can now, because I notice sometimes over the years when I'm doing these kind of things, I'll go 10 different directions and 10 different tracks. So I'm trying to stay on the same one. But also I noticed it just in like the Led Zeppelin guy. He's bent over the same way, but you don't see it because he has like angel wings on. But it's the same thing. It's always bent at the waist, because what they're doing is that's where they draw the they draw the soul out of there. And I started to put that together as far as where you have the major part of what you are is in that gut area. And now the thing about you being in the body, you're basically, as far as in my opinion and what I understand, is the bodies are more like antennas that we are broadcasting to. And where are we broadcasting from? From the fifth dimension, which some would probably call heaven, our home. I've had people try to tell me that it's the fifth and sixth. Some people are in the sixth. I don't know about that. I only focus on the ones that I think are immediately involve us, which is the third to the fifth. The fourth being a travel dimension, where things move through, but they can't stay. See, now I'm starting to get off track here. The point is, however your energy is coming to you, coming to these bodies, which I believe is in more of a broadcast kind of way. There's a sliver of your divinity, your energy, but the major part of it exists somewhere else, okay? But the major part of your energy here is in the gut area. That's where it's drawn out from. That's how you're connected to it. So when you're dreaming, you have to be out of the body. I don't know what process they're doing that necessitates you leave the body, but for whatever they do in there, and I believe it's to fix the screen, meaning strengthening the illusion that you see here. Because if you notice, you stay awake a while. Like if you've ever stayed awake for a long time, just because you had to, or if you were partying in chemical purposes or something, you start to hallucinate. People will start to see things, hear things. I don't think that's your brain playing tricks on you. I think the veil is breaking down to a point where you're seeing these other things that are happening. Because it's happening in the same space. It's just that it's vibrating at a frequency so that you can't see it. There's all the stuff in here, like all the different, what would be considered dimensions, are all happening in the same space. You're all, there's only what's under the snow globe here. You know what I mean? So, like I talk about demonic entities a lot and where they are. And I'm always like, yeah, they're always around you, because they are around you. But they're moving, or they're on a frequency that you can't see because you're not on the same frequency as them. Like me and these people here, we're on the same frequency, so we can walk on this ground here because we're all seeing it. We're tuned into the same like radio station, basically, is like what it is. So it's like we're all seeing the same thing. We're all tuned into the same whatever frequency this is, so that we can see this and it appears to be real or solid to us. This is a nice herd escape over here. They have this little track here, so if you're walking in up here and these herds are here, you can like kind of escape and come out over here, which I like to do a lot. But yeah, so at any rate, when you're dreaming, your energy, your spirit, or whatever that is going somewhere else. They're going to other places, other dimensions, I guess. And that's sort of a catch-all phrase. Dimension is weird. I mean, when you say dimensions, it's different in physics than it is in like geometry. It gets very confusing sometimes when you talk about these things with people, because a lot of these terms get swapped out and interchanged and used in an umbrella type fashion. But just for conversation purposes, there are other dimensions. Like this is another dimension. So what happens is when you go in there, these places exist, and they're the same thing. Like they stay constant. They're their own place, and I believe as well, the people are their own people. None of this is invented by your brain. You're just experiencing something. You've moved into this area, and you're experiencing what's in that area, and that's really all it is. Nothing is created. It's not like a movie or something that your head comes up with. That's not what's going on at all. At least in my opinion, from what I've observed, and what I've whatever couch. But the thing is, there's always something when you're there that almost like they're giving you something to do, so they can keep you out of the body. So you get involved in something while they do whatever it is they do, or whatever the process is that has to strengthen the bail or fix the screen, however you want to say it. And getting back to what I originally started off with, when you spend too much time there and they're done with whatever they have to do, as far as fixing your stuff, they want you to go, like they want to kick you out. And I think that's where, or why, you end up having like really bad nightmares or really bad scenarios, or at least that's how it seems to be to me. And I took notice of that a long time ago, and I always forget to mention it or talk about it. But I think that's so I'm glad I remembered to make the notation today, because I just had another one of those experiences the other day when I slept. So I figured I'd just get it down for posterity's sake. It's funny how long we've been, how long the dream and the dream realm and sleep has been a part of the human experience, like, for centuries. And no one really has a good hold on it yet. There's a lot of people that think they do. I mean, I'm not saying I do. These are just things I'm experiencing, and this is what's happening to me, and but yeah, it's something that should be studied more. But like a lot of things that you could derive some kind of truth from about your situation, it's not studied more because they don't want you to derive truth from your situation. This whole thing works the way it does because you're unaware of what you are, who you are, and where you are. And if we were in significant numbers to become aware of the truth of our situation, none of this would work. This whole thing would collapse in on itself, and we'd be able to flip their card table upside down. So they can't have that. So we're left to kind of figure this stuff out on our own. Or at least some of us are trying to do it. Don't blame the teacher, blame the school.